Welcome back to the Mental Health Runner. I'm Tom, and you can follow me on Instagram at Running with Autism. So, I think the most important video to start with is about me. So, I have had a lot of mental health challenges over my life, as a lot of people do. I was always aware that my brain worked a little bit differently to other people, but I didn't seek to label it and I didn't seek to do anything about it. To be honest, this is going to sound awfully dramatic, but survival was my principal objective. I was finding life very, very difficult, and just keeping my head above water was just about all I could manage. I was on my own, wasn't really anyone I could talk to about what was going on. I just knew I was getting more and more depressed and suicidal. Eventually I sort of managed to pull through to a more stable baseline. I had therapy and was able to get a little bit more help. But I still was finding everyday life very, very challenging. And then eventually, it was 7 years ago, I went to the GP, got a psychiatrist referral, and I got a diagnosis of Asperger's or high functioning autism. This made an awful lot of sense to me. It was something I'd started to get a suspicion of for a few years before I went to the GP. But having that diagnosis was really, really good for me. It meant I could explain to my wife, give her a valid reason for my sometimes unreasonable and illogical behaviour. And it meant that I was able to do things to try and help the situation. So I was able to have CBT, cognitive behavioural therapy, and many people on the autistic spectrum, it's also comorbid, also means basically a lot of people also have this, anxiety and depression. So actually 18 months ago, I did something that I'd previously been very apprehensive about doing so, and I went on medication. And actually, that move was a really, really good move. It doesn't dull life. It gives me the crutch I need when times are difficult, but it still lets me enjoy the good times. So it's fantastic. The other massive thing that's helped me is running. I started running seriously about 18 months ago, around the same time actually I started on medication. It was December 2017. We were on holiday, and I'd taken my gym kit in case I wanted to go to the gym when we were away, and instead I went out for a run, and I went out and I did 6 miles. And I was amazed. First off, wasn't expecting that I would be able to just go out and run 6 miles. I'm still not quite sure how that happened. It's quite a long way for a first run, really. But also, I felt fantastic for the rest of the day, and I felt like I wanted to go again. And since that run, I think I've run about 1,500 miles, except for when injury gets in the way. I run every week. And if I'm training for a race, I'll run between 30, 40, 50 miles a week. I've run, at this point, I've run 3 marathons. I've run 4 official half marathons, although actually a lot of my training runs now take over half a marathon. So I've probably run about 30 half marathon distances this year alone. And I'm feeling fantastic. I'm feeling so much healthier. I'm feeling in control of my body for the first time, which actually is really helping my mental well-being. But I think a lot of it is the focus and determination and concentration, and the fact that it's peaceful alone time is why I'm finding running so positive, and why so many other people find it positive. I also love the fact that you're competing against yourself. Every run is an opportunity to beat yourself, even if it's not for the whole race, it's for one section, or it's for your recovery, or it's your technique, it's how you feel. There's so many different bits that you can measure and consider when you're running, that you can find an improvement or some positive to take from every run, which is fantastic. There aren't many hobbies I've ever been involved in where there's a positive from every time you do it. What I've also found so good is the friends that I've either made through running or that I've enhanced through running. I've now got a great bunch of friends who I go to parkrun with each week. And actually that's part of a lot of the reason that inspired me to create this series, is that I'm finding with my friends who are just starting out, I'm bombarding them with information, and I think it's good information. Fingers crossed it's good information, but it would be nice if the information could be on demand for them rather than just spewing out of me as and when. So this way my friends can find what they need to know when they need to know it, rather than when I choose to tell them. So I have used my running to raise funds for the National Autistic Society, to raise awareness. I've gone out of my way to have mental health discussions with people. A lot of people have approached me, or when people have been talking to me, I've sort of had a feeling that they wanted to discuss a little bit more, because in fact it's only the last just over a year that I've been open about my own mental health, because I was so concerned about the stigma, because particularly autistic spectrum disorders are very, very misunderstood. I think they're quite feared, and much as I enjoy it, I think shows like The Undateables don't do the majority of adults with autism any favours. We're all a little bit weird, but very few of us are quite that weird. And a lot of us, you probably wouldn't know. That's because we're trying incredibly hard, and trust me, it's exhausting to try and fit in with neurotypical people, or at least come close to fitting in. But actually, now that my autism is under control is the wrong word, but now that I understand it, now that it's managed effectively, I see it as a real gift, which, considering that 10 years ago it nearly killed me, is incredible. And there are people out there who are going to kill themselves because they have this condition, either undiagnosed or diagnosed but without any help. So anything that I can do to help that matters. So I was silent about my condition for 33 years. I spent the last year talking about it, and I want to keep on talking about it, because actually it's a real killer. Several people I have met with adult diagnosed Asperger's nearly killed themselves because of it, and makes me wonder how many people I haven't met because they did kill themselves. So I have been fundraising for the National Autistic Society. Last November I ran my first marathon, which was the New York Marathon. It was the most incredible experience. It was brilliant. It was such an amazing experience. I'm just going to keep on coming with superlatives. New York is probably the greatest city on the planet, and the marathon is just a unique way to experience that city. But in doing that, I raised a few £1,000s for the National Autistic Society. Then in April, I ran the Paris Marathon, and then 2 weeks later, I ran the London Marathon. Just note to anyone watching, 2 marathons in 2 weeks is a really, really bad idea. I ran both of them and managed to raise more money for the National Autistic Society. And in just over 2 weeks, I'll be running my 4th marathon in under a year in Berlin. And in doing so, I'm hoping to hit £5,000 raised for the National Autistic Society. And I'm really, really proud of that. Really pleased that I've been able to do that. Thank you so much to the National Autistic Society for giving me these opportunities. They're incredible. I really hope I'm repaying you as much as possible. But I just love the fact that I've been able to speak to so many people and have such constructive, positive conversations with people, and that's what I'm going going to keep on doing. So I'm not going to make too many of these videos just about me and my mental health. It's a topic I'm going to certainly touch upon, but I wanted to get the ball rolling, just to get you up to speed with where I am, where I'm going, what I've achieved, what I want to achieve. And please, anyone who's having a problem is very welcome to approach me, but there's lots more people that you can approach than I think most people are aware of. The Samaritans are an obvious one. Now, you don't have to be just about to step out the window to call the Samaritans. They're there 24/7 if you need a helping hand. And honestly, if I told you some of the situations that have completely defeated me mentally, the pathetic little situations that nobody would have ever noticed, then whatever it is that's causing you need to call them is sufficient cause. If it's upsetting your head, it's valid. I mean, I had almost a breakdown going to a cafe once. I've gone to cafes since and absolutely fine, but a particular set of circumstances meant going to this cafe put me out of action for the rest of the day. And I needed mental health support after doing that. So if you can go to a cafe reliably without a breakdown, you're doing really, really well. But if there's something that you think is silly, that is causing you a mental difficulty, it's valid. Speak to somebody about it. You don't have to live unhappily. You don't have to be stressed out. There's a lot of avenues. I'm always very happy to be one. There's lots of others. You'd be amazed once you start talking what comes out of the woodwork. So I want it all to come out of the woodwork so everyone knows that we're all there just to support one another. So thank you very, very much for watching. I hope you found it interesting, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye.